Let's walk through how to make half treble crochets, which are half double crochets in US terminology. This is quite a tall stitch. It's taller than a double crochet, which is a single in US. And so to start gaining that height, you begin with a yarn around hook. You place your hook through the stitch from the front to the back. And the stitch has two loops to it, a front loop and a back loop. You yarn around hook and you pull up a loop, which simply means pulling your hook and yarn back through the stitch to the front. And then you will have 3 loops on your hook. Next, you yarn around hook and pull through all 3 loops that were on your hook. And that is what makes your half treble crochet, half double in the US. Let's do that again. Yarn around hook, place your hook through the stitch, yarn around hook, and pull up a loop. Yarn around hook and pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and that makes your half treble. Yarn around hook, place your hook through the stitch, yarn around hook, and pull up a loop, yarn around hook and pull through all 3 loops. So 1, 2, 3. And that leaves you with your half treble. Now let me show you something, because the placement of your hook in a half treble crochet is really important. Your hook needs to go just under the 2 loops that are at the very top of the stitch. You'll see within the anatomy of a half treble there is also this horizontal line which runs through the middle of the stitch. And if you place your hook underneath that, rather than underneath the front and back loop at the top, what happens is that you will get a completely different stitch. It's elongated and you don't get the horizontal bar that runs across the fabric. It can look really quite obvious. To me, this hook misplacement stands out a lot. So to make sure that you don't do that, ensure every time you put your hook through a stitch, it goes through the front and back loops at the top of the stitch. It never goes through that other bar unless you are directed to do so by the designer. It is always underneath the very top of the stitch. So one more time, we've already yarn round hooked, placed our hook, yarn round hook, pull up a loop, yarn round hook and pull through all 3 loops. That will give you a lovely, neat fabric with this nice continued horizontal bar all the way through your crochet.